people online, we're seeing a lot of women's rights issues become prevalent, but unfortunately we're seeing a lot of anti-feminist movements pop up as well with the feminists.
Of course.
What advice would you give someone who has to deal with someone who chooses to remain ignorant about what being a feminist actually is?
Oh, so like a friend or just anyone they know who's just like, oh, no, this is what a feminist is. To me, I think it's really important to lead by example. That's how I learn. I've never been someone who learns by like someone being like, this is what's right. And I'm like, okay. I most learn by watching other people and how they behave, but also through comedy as well. So I think that it's important to just lead by example. And, whatever, because feminism is a very broad subject, but whatever you think that is, if you can most best demonstrate that and its core values, like maybe that person can be like, oh, this is what feminism is, and that's what it's all about. And, like I am past the point in my life where I can even argue with people about that. It's like very emotionally compromising for me because I'm invested, because it actually affects me. I used to be able to, when I was younger, like argue with people on the internet and be like, oh, this is what feminism is, but I'm just like, I'm done. Like I can't argue with you anymore. So I'd rather like put content out that is about those things and also just lead by example, because I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But if you like me as a person, maybe you'll like how I act and then consider rebranding yourself,
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
For sure. So, a recent study, this actually came out on Monday, I think.
Is it the one about losers?
Yes.
Yeah. To ask your question, but yeah.
Found that female gamers are most likely to be abused by their male counterparts who are underperforming in multiplayer games. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question was, have you heard about this?
Yeah, I've heard about it because every woman I know is like, look at this. I was right. We're all just like, this is not shocking. This is brand new information. No, like, of course it's people who are doing poorly. Insecurity shows in a very specific way. People who are insecure have to attack other people, and it usually ends up being women. So, like, of course it's players who are doing really poorly who are like, you suck because you have boobs,
Do you think it could relate to the fake geek girl phenomenon? Because I know you talked about that before.
Yeah, like, I don't know how we would even measure that, but I'm sure that it's easier to dismiss somebody as not as knowledgeable as you if if they're threatening. You know what I mean? Like, not even in a knowledgeable way, but like maybe they'd be more recognized as being a geek, and it's like, no, I'm a geek. Mm-hmm. That's just a fake geek. She doesn't know as much about it as I do. Like, she's just in it for the hot guys. Yeah, I am. But that's not the point. Like, I think that those are all very interconnected, and like I said, like insecurity comes out differently in a lot of people, but when people are doing poorly or aren't recognized for being what they want to be, they don't like to see other people do well, especially women, who haven't earned their place.
Who are some of your favorite strong female characters in pop culture?
Oh my gosh. Well, right now, my current obsession is Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road, and all the wives, and like the mother, like just that whole movie. I'm obsessed with it. I just got the art book, and it's so good. I was like weeping. I was like, this is the prettiest thing I've ever seen. But like, that movie's so great because there's so many different types of women in it, and like you can have a character like Cheeto, like the fragile, and it's okay for her to be super fragile and super timid because there's so many other women, and she doesn't stand for like what women are. Other women that I like in pop culture, I don't even know if I would think like this is like a strong woman. I like characters who are endearing. That's I think why I like Steven Universe so much, because there's so many really endearing and really complex and complicated characters in Steven Universe, and I just love them all. Like, there's so many great women on that show. Definitely, like, my obsessions right now are Mad Max and Steven Universe.
Secret Loves of Geek Girl reached its goal in Kickstarter, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about the project and your comic finish?
Yeah, so it actually ends like 4 hours from now, which is crazy. I've been like at my table like, well, how are we doing now? Like, just curious. My mom like checks it every day. I'm like really close with my parents, so they're always like, oh, the Kickstarter's doing really well. I'm like, I know, Mom, I look at it. But it's really cool. It's a really cool project. Basically, it's kind of what the title suggests. It's like there's stories and comics and illustrations from like all women or like femme presenting people about like sex and romance and love, and it's all kind of related to geekdom. Like my contribution is, I think it's geeky to me because it's about technology, but maybe not to the extent of like I have friends in it who are writing like BioWare fanfic, and I'm like, okay, well, like, that's a different kind. My little contribution, because they're short. They're only like 4 or 5 pages depending on what you're doing. But my comic is about basically I have a lot of trouble like falling asleep at night. Like my brain just keeps going and going, and it's probably, you know, very much linked to the fact that I am constantly, I mean, I have my phone right here. I'm always like checking everything online, and I'm always on my computer too. And my girlfriend's always trying to like hassle me into like, you need to put your phone away at least an hour before bed because like you're messing up your own sleep schedule. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But it was really cute a couple of months ago. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's like going up. A couple of months ago, we were kind of experiencing a little bit of difficulty just because like I would text her late at night even when I found something stupid, like, look at this Uranus and Neptune picture I found, like, and she'd like call me and be like, I'm trying to sleep, you know, like, don't do this, you know. And it got to the point where she had to turn all of her notifications off, and because like just the noise would wake her up. And so, you know, I would only do it if it were an emergency, but in my head I was always like, well, she's got her notifications off anyway. Right. And then this one night I texted her, I was just upset about something. It could have been anything, I cry a lot. But she called, it was like 3 a.m, and I texted her, and within like 30 seconds she called me, and I was about to ask her, like, you know, because I've seen her phone, I know she has all her notifications off, but I realized that she has them turned off for everybody else. But for me, she keeps them on in case of an emergency. So that's a very complicated way of telling you what my thing's about, but that's what it's about. It's called settings. So, yeah.
Does it help you at all to like step away from technology?
I don't know that I've stepped away from it yet. Like, my job is online, so it's really hard to separate that. But I find that I'm so much happier when I do. And I've found that, I don't know if it's an age thing or like I've been doing internet stuff for like 10 years. I'm doing this weird thing now where I'll like do stuff and I won't put it on the internet. And it's amazing. And I won't even have the inclination to be like, we were at this place, like check out a picture. Because before I was blogging everything, and like everything I did was an opportunity to blog or to take pictures or something. But now I'm like just doing things, and it's just about that. And it's kind of nice. But at the same time, I feel a little guilty because I feel like maybe I'm neglecting my internet stuff. But it's hard to separate yourself from that, and I struggle with it a lot. And I think that as time goes by and like generations go by, like I think it's just going to be even harder for younger people, because like I've been on the internet since I was like 12, but these kids have never not been on the internet. Like their parents have been posting pictures of them since they were like a little fetus in the womb. So like I can't even imagine what that's like to experience. I don't want to, because I have trouble separating.